it off. There we go.
There we go.
Dena, over to you.
All right. So without further ado, I would love to introduce my dear friend and actually one of the most fun and amazing people you will ever meet on the planet. Leanne her talents are multifaceted, but at the core of everything is a quest for discovering untapped human potential. Leanne operates Creative One, a branding and marketing firm where she uses her esoteric gifts to tap into her client's essence or creation point, stepping in to and expressing their highest potential. Leanne's groundbreaking meta work and immersive meta process steps the client into that essence point of their fully realized self to explore how to express themselves fully in all aspects of their lives. Her meta art paintings are channeled portals to higher consciousness that shift the energy into spaces they inhabit and when meditated upon. To Leanne, creativity and imagination are human capacities that can be used to tap into one's highest potential, where the deepening self-awareness serves all. So that's her professional bio, but I would love to give her my own little bio, because this woman, I'm telling you what, working with her just changes everything. It really helps you tap in. You know, we think our higher potential, it's going to take so long and it's going to be so hard. And with Leanne, it's just fun. Like, she is the queen of fun. And like, we've done some super silly things together and traveled a lot of different places together. But the one thing that I always go back to with Leanne is that she just makes everything light and not silly in a childish way, but silly in a childlike way with awe and wonder and beauty. And she's the most amazing person. So if you know her, I'm sure you can shake your head and say, oh yeah, I got that. And if you don't know her, you are in for a treat. So without any further ado, Leanne, tell us what we need to know tonight.
Well, first I want to just say thank you so much. That was awesome. I feel like I can just be done. We can just yeah, we're going to be talking about creativity and imagination, and I'm going to just be sharing with you how the power of harnessing that has reflected out so far in my life, and it's because it's a lifelong experience. But the first, I want to thank you so much, Dena, and to Bob and Noel. I was honored to be a weaver 2018, 2019 with Co-Creators Convergence, and just anybody that's Bob and Noel have touched are so blessed, and it's such an amazing organization. So happy to be here on the conversation and this new platform. So let's have some fun. You know, CCC and Barbara Marx Hubbard go hand in hand, and you know, one of my favorite, not a quote, but one of my favorite things I remember her talking about is that she wanted to launch a creative revolution, and she actually used Thomas Jefferson's statement of, we hold these truths to be self-evident. All people are born creative, endowed by our Creator with the inalienable right to realize our creativity for the good of ourselves and for the world. And I want to repeat that because it's really powerful that all people are born creative and endowed by our Creator. It's a gift. Creativity is a gift, a capacity that when we put our attention on it, when we thoughtfully become curious about our own abilities, then that creativity opens up more and more and flows to us. So I was thinking about this talk, and I was thinking about several years ago, I was a guest teacher at a local community college, and I was talking to the students about tapping into creativity. And back then, you know, a couple decades ago, I really saw creativity as a higher consciousness space, but I viewed it as a space that you actually reached into. You know, when I was designing a logo or art, I I actually visualized myself like reaching into some magical space and pulling out, a logo or a concept, and whether it came through words or, colors or sound or concepts, it didn't matter. I felt connected to source. And it was never a dogma. It was never a teaching. It was always a human capacity, right? Like animals don't have it, plants don't have it. We have it as human beings. And that knowledge that we are all creators is a really big statement to own. And years later, though, I understood that the tapping into isn't an outer space at all. It's very much a deeply inner space, an inner capacity within us. So, as this more awareness and more consciousness became around it, the more I realized that there's something really important here with creativity. And it's not just for the people that are supposedly creative, like the musicians or the artists, or the chefs. Everybody is. And so going back to Thomas Jefferson's quote, it's what we do with that inalienable right to realize our creativity. And he stated, for the use of the good of ourselves and the world. That is so key. So if we believe that being creative is a capacity, and we make the choice to use that for the good of ourselves in the world, it is clearly a conscious choice that we need to make that can improve our lives and everyone else's. So whether we're aware of it or not, we're always creating, and we're always creative in every moment. It's just like breathing as human beings. It's something that we do because we're human. And it isn't being creative in those monumental accomplishments like writing a book or throwing pottery. It's in all the mundane things that we do. It's when we open the fridge in the morning and we have to creatively figure out a lunch to put in our child's lunch bag for the day, or looking at the closet going, I have to have more space in this closet, right? And just reorganizing it. We're using that creative capacity. What really makes it magic is when we choose to become aware of the true capacity of what creativity is, because then more of it can flow into that creative part of ourselves. It's like opening a floodgate, the best kind of floodgate. And of course, another word for becoming aware is becoming more conscious. So to live from that state of consciousness, knowing that you're that creative being and understanding that you are a creator steps you into a flow, right? That flow of energy that I know everybody has felt many times, hopefully. So to me, creativity's partner is imagination, right? Albert Einstein, was one of the most brilliant minds on the planet. And he was also, we know of his theories and we know of his quotes, but he was a very influential speaker. And recently I was, reading a story about somebody that had been at a speaking engagement of his, and he believed in the power of imagination and creativity. He understood that it was an actual power. He's quoted as saying, imagination is more important than knowledge. That's a huge statement. Of course we need both imagination and knowledge. To me, it's kind of like book smarts and street smarts. We need them both, but to me, imagination is the street smarts, because it's something that we're tapping into, where knowledge is something we really need to learn or take a course or read a book, basically, and enter that into our brain. But imagination is a capacity that we're all born with. So the greatest creators have used their imagination through time, whether it's Tesla or Michelangelo or Walt Disney. And those are some of the big names that we know, that if they didn't use their imagination by completely stepping out of the box, right, of what is, we would never have any of these amazing elements that they've brought to humanity. So it's always been really strange to me that we come into this world, we're born into this world with these capacities that, you know, when you're around any young child, their imagination is huge. It's bigger than the reality sometimes. You know, they can, you know, go outside and play, and a boulder that they climb up on can be a launching pad to their rocket ship. Or, you know, they could be on top of a mountain. And slowly, as children are growing up, we kind of, you know, strip that away. It's really unfortunate that we take these components and mask it with, you know, being an adult. Everybody wants to be an adult and be grown up. But Hugh doesn't remember being young and being told, stay inside the lines. That's how you know, you color. That's how you do art. You never mix primary colors together or it's going to make brown. You know, there's all these rules that we have. And so we're kind of shown at a very young age that, you know, maybe we're not creative, or that imaginary friend that I've, you know, had isn't the right thing. And so we're, but it is proof that we're born with these capacities. So knowing that this was never been a process that I consciously stepped through. For a very long time, going into what I call the meta space, where creativity and imagination is really a gateway. To me, those are capacities that we have that are gateways to get us into that higher space. I refer to it as the meta space, but it's that space of higher consciousness. And, you know, for me, for many years, it felt like going into another state of consciousness. It was a deliberate act. It was something that I, you know, sat down and I consciously said, you know, I'm going to go through this process and I'm going to go into this higher state. But gradually over time, it's integrated more and more so that I can tap into it at any moment, trusting that what comes through my imagination has the ability to manifest. So, of course, that doesn't mean, you know, I'm going to imagine that there's, you know, a unicorn in the next room and I'm going to walk in there and he's in there. But it means that we create from that higher space of consciousness. And we know that consciously or we don't know consciously, but that's what we're doing. And then it trickles down into our day-to-day reality. So I wanted to share a few stories. I'll share a few stories. I actually won't talk for terribly long because I'm honestly not much of a talker, but and then we're gonna go through a little journey. We're gonna do a little experience together. But I was, you know, just trying to think of some stories that would explain my process a little bit. So again, having this belief that creativity and imagination are tools and capacities, aiding me in dreaming into what I now do with my clients on a daily basis, which many years ago I could have never imagined I'd be able to do. For several decades, I had the gift of crossing people over that were not fully on the other side. The more common way of saying this is I help ghosts cross over. I've always shied away from the work. I never really owned it. I really kind of didn't appreciate it because it was oftentimes working with a lot of darkness, and there's typically pain and suffering attached to a soul that hasn't fully crossed over. So, you know, for many years, it was something that I would, you know, actually tell my kids, like, well, don't tell the kids at school because, you'll be the kid that has the mom that talks to dead people. So, we don't want that. But I had a reading several years ago by a really amazing woman that articulated to me that I needed to own that I had that capacity in order for new capacities to come in, for new abilities to come in. And so I probably did it more to get on the other side of it. Now I do honor the work of helping people cross over, and I do so with a lot of reverence. But what happened is, at the same time I was really owning that ability and putting it out there, I came to this decision that I didn't want to live my life in silos. I owned a branding and marketing firm, and this other part of me traveled the world and worked with healers, and I had this deep human potential passion, and my spiritual life was very deep. And so I made the conscious choice to bring those two parts of myself together. And I didn't know what that was going to mean. I didn't have a plan. I just really stated to Source that I'm making myself live in these different silos, but I, Leanne, are all of these things, and I'm passionate about all of them. And so I'm going to show up in every aspect of my life in that way. And immediately, the first thing that dropped in was what I now call the meta work. It was a method at that time that Gina Mazza and I organically developed. It just pretty much dropped in. And it was the ability to tap into our client's higher self or their companies. And it's, of course, a person has a higher self. A company is a collection of souls. So I call, when all those souls come together in a soul contract to do work together, I call that higher energy, that the creation point of that company. So we were able to go in and connect with that higher space and the highest purpose, and communicate with that space through the branding and the marketing. And it starts out as, it's almost like a download. It's like a report that I do and give back to the client, but then that's the space that I go in and I see the logo, or I hear, the components of the marketing strategy, whatever it is. So what gets reflected out is that person or that company's essence. It's not designing a brand or marketing to fit a specific demographic, or looking at all the competition and positioning it in a way that we feel is going to aid the bottom line. It's simply tapping into that person or that company's essence and reflecting it out. And by doing that, there's an energetic, multidimensional piece that's happening. So I was doing that for a number of years, and it was all great. I mean, we were the only firm out there doing work in that way, only working with conscious businesses. And 10 years ago, there weren't, a ton of companies that were calling themselves conscious businesses, but it was great. And then in 2017, I was guided to give away all my belongings and get on the road. And my children were grown and out of that part of town. They were, all over the country. And my elder generation had passed away. So I was completely free and clear to do that. And so I contacted my clients and said, let's work in person. I just need a place to stay. And And I stepped into an even greater space of trust, to trust the flow of creativity and imagination, that imaginal self of me that could direct me to where I knew I was supposed to be next. And, you know, I raised my kids always saying to them, life has your back. But this was an opportunity for me to really live it, because it was me in a very high mileage little car on the road. So the first stop was Tucson, and that lovely lady is here with us. And we were sitting together, and I remember saying, right at this moment, I really would like to go in the meta space. And I would always do that in private, away from my clients. I would get information, I would go and have this experience and report it back. And I just said, I want to tap into your essence right now. And she said, well, can I go with you? And again, it was that trust. I'm like, I don't know. I have no idea if that can happen, but I had this trust to keep my imagination open to that there's something new could come through. And we were able to go into that space together, and we were in the same environment together. We were feeling the same feelings. We were feeling the same mist in the air. And then she took the whole experience over, and I realized I was holding the space for her to have this magnificent experience of senses and smells and emotions. And she led us through this experience, not really understanding what the usefulness of it would be, what the value would be. But as she was experiencing it, I knew that this is her branding. This is her imagery. This is the main visual that captures her essence so beautifully that I could have never come up with that. And it came through her. And so the entire experience was beautiful and sublime, and we were both left in awe. And of course, within 48 hours, the perfect photographer came into the mix, and the photo, of course, became way more than a photo. It would be a carrier of her own divine imprint, her essence, out into the world. And so I was finding that these tools were opening up in my marketing business a whole new way of connecting into higher consciousness. And, you know, Barbara would always say, we're here to live as a new human and to take a leap more and more into these new human capacities. And I do believe that as we evolve as human beings, that new capacities come into play. It just makes sense. What happens? We're evolving. Things are shifting within our DNA and our essence and what we're capable of. So using our logical mind couldn't have taken us into that liminal space together. Only our imaginations could have done that. And so Albert Einstein said, logic will get you from A to B, but imagination will take you everywhere. And that is incredibly true. So, you know, since then I've spent as much time as I can in that higher realm and working with clients, because I understand more and more that that's really truly the space that we create our reality in. It's there that it just trickles down into our daily existence. So one more quick story. As Gina and I were developing an online course, we wanted to introduce this information and introduce what the meta work was. And one time that we were together working really intensely on, you know, the part of the course talking about proving it with quantum mechanics and quantum physics. And And I ended up guiding us on one of these journeys. And all of a sudden, Gina and I were very young girls, maybe like 11 or 12. And we were right on the edge of a beautiful beach. And it wasn't a beach from my memory. It was a place I'd never been before. It was an experience that we created together. And together we climbed up this steep, really big hill of sand. And I can still remember how hot the sand was under my feet and the wind whipping my hair, and how hard it was to make each step, because in that deep sand, your foot sinks so far in, and so much happened to us on the journey. We went into a tree, we went into the earth, like all this amazing stuff happened. And we were able to come out of the experience and understand what we were supposed to communicate on that part of the course. But fast forward several months later, I've been zigzagging the country. So I was heading out west, going back east, and I decided to stop for the night outside of Illinois, going into Michigan, and an area I'd never stayed at before. And I, got settled in my hotel room and just felt antsy. And I thought, no, I'm going to get back in the car. I just want to find Lake Michigan, find a beach, sit on the beach, put my feet in the sand. And I got on the highway and didn't put anything in my GPS because I didn't know any beaches to put in my GPS. I just started hearing, like, get off this exit, make a left, go up here. And I realized I was in a park and was just guided to a beach, and I pull into the parking lot, and it was that exact huge hill of sand next to the water. And I stood there in this space of being in two places at once, being in that magical space that was in that liminal meta experience, and being right there in this life as well. So to me, focusing on really tapping into these abilities makes life so much richer and so much more magical, that I find that at every turn, I'm just always inviting more and more of it in. So to me, that's been my experience with creativity and imagination. So I just want to take a little break if anybody has anything they want to chat about, but then we're going to experience a meta journey together.
Awesome. Like, this is so much fun. And we did, if you're a CCC member, was it last year? It just feels like a decade ago already. Last year, Leanne took us through a meta process together, and it's so much fun. And it's so talk about using your imagination, and we're doing it all together. So make sure you stick around for that. But does anyone have any questions so far for Leanne? Or if you need to get up or stretch?
I was just wondering, when you did that first one where you stayed with the person, did you feel that when you had the one-on-one with them, and that, that it could take you deeper than you had gone before? When you were...
Yeah, absolutely. Because when two or more are gathered, it's a bigger experience for sure. Yeah.
Any other questions? Well, all right.
Okay, so
before we do that, I do want to just please take note of the paintings that are behind Leanne. I'm hoping we have enough time at the end for her to talk about her artwork and the ocular meditations that she has as well. So I've had the thrill of hanging out with the paintings and like the energetic quality that they hold. And they're, I don't want to steal your thunder, but like the one right behind her is Peace. I recognize, hey Peace, how you doing? She stayed with me for a week and we bonded, and just sitting with this painting like completely just changes the energy. And I know she talked about it a little bit, but the painting, when you sit with it, it changes your energy. It changes the energy in the room. It's really quite extraordinary. So in case we don't get to it later, I did want to mention your artwork because it's absolutely gorgeous and very purposeful as well.
Well, let's talk about that for a second.
Right.
Dena, you brought it up. So yeah, one of the things that has come through, I would say the second half of last year, I just started hearing 2020 is all about the paintings. And I've been doing paintings. So when I do these, I call them immersive meta processes when I'm one-on-one with clients that I mentioned earlier. I knew that there needed to be a way to bring that very abstract, energetic space, that meta space, into physical form. And so because I'm an artist, it was easy for me to implement artwork. So the artwork was always, me doing it, me and the client doing it doing it alone. It was a piece over the couple-day retreat that we were together, got created, and the result was a portal for that client. And the largest one I had done was about 8 feet wide, and there were 12 people in the company, and so they were these smaller canvases that I taped together, and then everybody took a piece of it, and so they each had that piece of artwork to meditate on and focus on to get them back into that space. So the end of last year, I'm happy. I'm like super excited doing all this stuff. I'm not asking for more, but the end of last year, I kept hearing, it's all about the paintings. It's all about the paintings. I'm like, my mantra has turned into bring it on. Like, okay, I'm ready. So I started, I just understood to just choose a topic, like this one right here is peace. Choose an energetic topic and just channel that. So for several times, going into paint and just going into that meta space and channeling peace. And then I moved on to joy, and I moved, I've done several of them, and after a while, they're kind of big. So I had one up in the room I was staying in, and I just kind of looked at it and I thought, wow, it's so pretty. I'm just gonna sit here and look at it for a while. And it started moving. It started spinning or going all white, or it was morphing in front of me. So I started meditating with it. And after just even a few minutes, I felt, the only way I could explain it was, it felt like every cell in my body was filled up with peace or joy, or, whatever the piece of artwork I was meditating with. So I started giving it to friends going, can you check this out? Because like, did kind of crazy shit for me. Like, what's it doing for you?
It was doing some crazy shit for me too.
Yeah. And so it's a thing, because then I find out kind of like haphazardly that there's a manner of meditating called gazing. It's through all major religions. It's all through time of meditating with your eyes open. So usually it's looking at a flame or looking at a religious statue, but the painting is a portal. In this case, it's a portal into the frequency of peace. So it's super easy. You just sit with it and breathe in peace and breathe out peace, and that frequency just builds between you and the painting. So it's like, I don't know what's next. I'm open to what's next. Right now, I'm feeling like nothing can get better than spending time, you know, channeling this artwork. It's just so incredibly satisfying to do. But anywho, so that's the paintings. I do have some videos of them on YouTube that I can post somehow. You know, because they really need to be out and experienced and shared. Yeah. So if are there any other questions or comments before we do a little journey?
I think we should dive right in. Can you explain to everyone what the experience is going to be? And we'll need to unmute if we're going to talk, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Can everybody unmute themselves, or do I have to do it?
I think
No, I can
Looks like everybody can do it. Good. Okay. Yeah. So what this is, and some of you have done this with me, so it's going to be like, yeah, been here, done that. But usually when we meditate, it's a very individual experience. You know, I'm meditating, I'm having whatever experience I'm having. Where this is a collective meditation, it's an active meditation where we're going to build it together. So to understand that we're building a liminal space together. So if everybody can take themselves off of mute, I'll start us out.
Dog barking or something.
Okay, yeah, if you have a dog barking, screw it. No. We're going to go into the space together, and I'll start us out. But wherever we are in that space, like if we're standing at the beach, and you know, Raina Shay, if you see big, fluffy, beautiful clouds, you're going to tell us what you see, so we can all see it, and that's how we're going to create this space together. You know, if Sharon, if you feel a really cool breeze coming from behind, speak that to the group so we can all feel that. And don't hold back, don't be shy, because that's how we build this to me, they're very, very real spaces. They're more real than you know, the room that I'm sitting in, honestly. And you know, this is something that with the immersive meta process, we do over and over and over again over a series of days. So we're just going to do this, you know, for 10 minutes or so, and we'll just see what happens, see where we travel together, and see how it feels, and have fun with it. Does that sound good? Okay, now don't be shy. Off of mute. All right, let's just close our eyes, settle into your chairs and your bed or wherever you are, and just really feel your sits bone. Just really feel where you're balanced, kind of sway back and forth. Really feel your body. Be really aware of your clothes on your skin, on the back of the chair, against your back. And we're just going to relax. And just take a few breaths together. Breathing in and breathing out. Breathing in and breathing out. And just feeling so open to playing together, to leaving this mundane, somewhat stressful life, and just releasing everything. So let's take another breath in and out. And another really deep, deep breath in. Really fill up your lungs. And on this out breath, you are standing in a forest. We are all standing in a beautiful forest with massive trees. They look like the size of the redwoods. They're just magnificent. And they're huge, and we feel so small. And the nearest branches of leaves seem like they're a mile up from us. And the sun is pouring through, and those leaves are just glistening like little diamonds above our heads. So just see yourself there. Look around and see all the others. And start to share with the group what you see or hear or feel, so we can all build this together.
I hear the leaves rustling as the gentle breeze blows through.
And there's a path in front of us. It's kind of a medium brown that leads off into the distance. And there's this little gray wild bunny off to the right.
He looks like a young bunny, you know,
Mm-hmm.
like a little soft, soft, sweet bunny. I can see that.
I see deer grazing through the trees, and they bring a gentle energy.
And it's like they don't even know we're there.
They don't care.
I see as I get very close to just these enormous trees, but if I get very close up to it, there's little passageways at the place where the trunk of the tree meets the land, the earth. And I just start to hear, like putting my ear up to it, hearing laughter, the echo of laughter.
Is it coming from inside the tree?
It's coming from inside.
Can we get inside?
We can get in there.
Do we have to push away some of the leaves and the twigs on the ground?
Yeah, because it looks at first glance, you might miss it, but it's very, very little is covering it. It's very easy once you touch it to it opens.
So let's just walk up to this tree. It's such a big tree. I'm just looking at the bark is so beautiful, the pattern of it, the depth to it. And I hear the laughter too. It's like frolicking, you know.
Do you see the lightning bugs around the opening, like lighting? Playful.
Yeah, but you know, the lights aren't going on and off, like they're just staying on.
Yeah, there's this light is just luminous, beautiful. Not only just shining through the leaves up above, but a luminousness below on the bark. It's and I have a feeling the light is going to open us to whatever's beneath.
And the smell of the earth just really makes me feel grounded and solid and in the right place.
As you say that, Flo, I'm wiggling my toes in the dirt, like pushing aside the leaves and pushing my toes in the ground so I can really feel it. It's kind of cool, you know. It's that moist coolness that's because it's been so sheltered from the sun. So, who wants to go in?
I do.
Yeah,
Sure.
Let's do it.
The lightning bugs are following us in to light the way.
Okay, so I went down like a little slide.
I took the steps.
Definitely a path downward. Definitely a path downward.
Yeah. Oh, and it smells so not musty. It just smells so alive in here. The life from the inside of the tree. It's
Mm.
green, and I can feel the tree almost pulsating with aliveness.
Feels like a dimensional shift down to 2D. So it'll be interesting to see who we run into.
Down to 2D.
Feels like there's different tunnels that could be roots, but
I was
they're
going to say that.
Yep, I
Yeah.
know. I saw the same thing. I think those are the root systems. And we can, I suppose, go anywhere. We could break up. We could all stay together. I think we should stay together.
stay together.
Yeah. Yeah, because in some places, like there's that luminant light that was glowing is continuing to glow. I can see everyone. It's not super bright, but some of those passages look, definitely darker. So
Seems like the light is leading the way.
which way is it going?
It's shining just across from me.
Yeah, it just seems forward, right?
Forward, yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Leading forward.
I'll follow you, Talia.
Let's go.
And it feels like the other tunnels are simply pathways and places for other beings, but there's something down this lit pathway for us, some energetic imprint or some gift.
Mm.
As you were saying that, Teresa, I put my hand up on the wall that's the inside of the tree, and it was I could just feel this vibration coming through my hand. It's like there's a message even just from the tree itself.
Mhm.
I see the roots are actually lighting up now with different colors,
Mm.
and they're leading us.
Well, let's go down one of these pathways that's lit up.
Oh my God, it's the Keebler Ralph. He's got a cookie for me.
Is it a fudge stripe?
Give it back.
Well, it does feel very playful in here now. Just the air feels different. The air just feels not heavy or stagnant, but it's like it has a different weight to it.
Yeah.
Like it's caressing us, and it feels very, very safe.
Yeah, it does feel safe. I feel totally safe.
Mm. Kind of misty feeling. I mean, like there's something in the air that's refreshing.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Mm.
I see Einstein coming out to greet us.
Yeah, he's getting very playful now.
I think it was the elk before. Now it's Einstein. This just feels like a beautiful place to come back to again when it's time to sleep. To be in this, it's just such a grounded space and such a space of connection to the earth.
Mm.
Well, it certainly is fun being here with all of you.
I'm paying close attention so that when I set my intention before I go to sleep to dream about it, I can bring back the feelings and the smells and the sights and the feels.
Yeah, it feels like there's a lot of wisdom here, but not wisdom that we would necessarily hear. You know, it's more of a just an experience of being here organically, wisdom just seeping into us.
I think those elves are not just playful. I mean, they are playful, but also they have something to teach. I mean, there's something in the earth kingdoms that they have to teach us.
There's for me, what I'm seeing is, or what I saw was a small fairy ambassador, and now I see this very tall fairy female with lots of gold and white, and it's like she's dropping this golden essence if we choose to receive it.
Mm.
It's beautiful. It like looks like honey.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I just walked up and put out my hands, and she put a big drop in my hand.
I opened my mouth and she dropped it on my tongue. He's so sweet.
Well, it's time for us to leave and come back out of the tree, so maybe everyone can receive their beautiful light, and we'll go back up out of the tree. I'm gonna have to use those steps. That slide's not gonna work for me. And we'll come back out into the forest floor. And we can just take each other's hand. We're not in a circle, but we're in a group for sure. And we just hold each other's hands and smile at each other. And with every breath, this environment around us is just starting to fade and get a little loose, a little misty. And we'll take one big deep breath in together. And on the out breath, we're back into our bodies here. The forest is now behind us. But we can always go there again in our imagination and in our mind and see what else those elves have in store. Well, thank you everyone so much for playing. That was awesome.
That was so fun.
It was wonderful.
Yeah, this was really wonderful. I really enjoyed this, and I'm people that are really close to me know that I really don't like public speaking, but I think I like it now because that was magical.
I think you're good at it. You should do more.
For sure.
Great. Thanks so much, everyone.
Wasn't that awesome? Everyone give Deanna.
Yay!
Cool. And I know it is 9 o'clock. I don't want to go over, but I do have 2 things to share. Okay, so
Take your time. Take your time.
okay, I can do that. Okay, I'm gonna.
Last week we got booted if we get booted into another room, he'll put us back in. So just stay with us. If you get into a room with people you don't know, he'll bring us right back.
Okay. So 2 things I want to share, because I want to talk about our beautiful contribution next week, Jennifer Ivanko. I want to give her a second to talk. So super quick, if you found this fun, I do have an online course that Gina and I created together. And so I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to do it because I do have, for those with their recording, I do have the website here. So if you can see that, it's at the socialchrysalis.com/the-inner course. But we do have a promo code right now, 20% off, if anybody's interested in taking that course. So socialchrysalis.com/the-inner course. And that talks all about imagination and creativity and the meta work. And then I also just wanted to, let's see how organized I am. I just wanted to share with everybody my website if you want to learn more about the artwork or the meta work, or just to get in touch with me, leanneheltzel.com. So, yay.
And Leanne, don't forget about your appearance tomorrow.
Oh, see?
Hello.
There's so much going on. So tomorrow I'm going to be on the Up Convergence from 3 to 4, and I'll be talking about the meta art and the ocular meditations. So I'm actually going to share with you during the paintings, and we're going to dive deep into that. So Noelle, I don't have the Zoom room for that. Maybe
I put it in the chat.
Okay. Awesome.
I put a lot of stuff in the chat. It's good chat.
Yeah. Hey, Bob.
So
Hey there.
I just want to introduce Jennifer Ivanko to the group. I'm so excited.
Yay.
She will be with us next Thursday. She's one of my dear soul sisters. And over to you, Jen. What are you going to be talking about?
So I had so much to play with, to talk about, and I'm terrible at writing it. I'd rather just talk with you guys about it. But I finally wrote a description and I got it in. It was supposed to be, a week ago? I got it in 2 minutes before she started talking tonight.
Good to me.
But the title is going to be Out of Your Mind into Your Power. And we're talking, so we're going to talk about, these times that we're in and the multiple timelines we're playing with and the dimensions we're playing with as we go through our days. And how do we, in the morning we wake up and we have this idea of being in the flow. Today's going to be the day that I'm going to just keep on path. And at the end of the day, it's like, what happened to that day? Where'd it go? And so I just want to have a really deep conversation about how we need to nourish that dream inside of us. And what are some of the tools we can use to really, and of course, if you know me, tools are meditation, okay? I'll warn you right now, we'll be meditating. So we'll probably take a journey into consciousness, and I'm excited to share that with you. Tomorrow morning on the Up Convergence, we will have another morning meditation. I've been doing each morning. Some of you been following me since March with those morning meditations. And then also we will have another guest from Dominher, a replay of Asperiday's talk tomorrow. So, did I miss anything?
Is that Asperiday, the alchemy of her? Is that what she's going to be?
The alchemy of her, yes. And she's talking about women's roles in these times of transition.
Okay, so Jennifer is on, starts a meditation at 10:30, actually 10:25.
Eastern.
Everything's Eastern. And then she'll be back with us at 12:30 with the 90-minute session with Asperiday.
And now that's not in this room, right? That's in a different room?
Thank you.
That's a different room.
Correct.
The room for the Up Convergence is in the chat. It's the one that starts with 845-419-20929. Let me see if I can paste just that. You just join, go to Zoom and join a meeting. That's the meeting code. I just put it up there.
If you get lost, go to peaceweekend.org, scroll down to where there's a bunch of tiles of the 25 different rooms, Co-Creators Convergence Room. Go there and you'll be on a Trello board. Just find the first one of the day, click on description, and it's also there. The link's also there.
Now, can they also find it if they go on the Co-Creators Convergence Facebook page and like the page? Can they also get to it from there?
We probably will have a live feed there.
There'll be a
yes.
live feed there, correct.
But yeah, the Co-Creators Convergence, please join that. It's
And also the conversation.cc.
You're always welcome back here. And I want to tell you also about the whole day is filled with, so Leanne will be back tomorrow at 3 o'clock.
Yay.
And then right after that, Raina Shea, give a wave. Raina Shea is bringing it on home with the Literary Arts Hour. Fascinating all week, fascinating and hard. And Karen, why don't you tell us about your guest?
Tomorrow for the last hour of the Heart Hour, we have Adrian Fox talking about sacred geometry and that word that Dena can pronounce that I can never remember. What is it called, Dena?
The tetrahedron.
Oh my God,
tetrahedron.
he just has so much information about the sacred geometry of the heart and our consciousness. So if you can get on all day on the Up
Just stay the whole day.
Convergence channel.
It's really good all day.
So the Heart Hour is from 5 to 6 Eastern time, and I follow Raina Shea, and I recommend bringing tissue if you're going to be in on Raina Shea's. It's so moving. And Raina Shea follows.
Raina Shea follows.
Right.
So
She follows the art with Leanne, right?
Yeah.
And then we top the whole thing off with Laurie Timmerman, with Susan Beaver Thompson, who is a peace journalist and has some fascinating stories.
She's traveled the country and she had in the world. She's going to teach us how to use our smartphones for social justice and photography for social justice.
So, Shay, do you want to tell us a little sneak peek about your guest? Oh, I know what it is. It's open mic. So bring your poetry, your writing, anything. Is that right, Raina Shea?
Yeah. Oh, yes. Kim Conrad will be giving a little reading, and then I've got a few submissions that have been sent to me ahead of time, but I'm excited to have an open mic reading session and invite you to join us and share your own or someone else's poetry or prose excerpts on the themes of unity and peace.
Awesome.
Or the power of words as medicine for the world.
Woohoo!
Wonderful.
Thank you, everyone.
Great
I have a
week.
quick question.
Yes, ma'am.
I even raised my hand in the little Zoom thing. Jennifer, repeat the name of your topic next week.
Out of your mind into your power, harnessing dreams to co-create a world that works.
So powerful. And I just did want to say, you do have a way of just through the meditations that you offer and the work. I heard somebody talking about this on your meditation, about this sort of reverberation sounding, and some people are like, oh, it's just your Zoom feedback. But I actually then myself at a separate time experienced that. And so there is something that happens, I find, working with you, that you just really do go out of the mind. So I'm excited for next week. Thank you.
Yeah. Hope to see you guys tomorrow and next Thursday.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Barb,
Leanne.
did you have anything else? If last final commercial is that I missed, and you all might have missed what was just playing. Karen, did you talk about the prayer for the United States?
So I will say this, I mentioned that it was on, it was extremely moving, and if it's still up on my phone. So it's, what day is it? Bob?
Today's Thursday.
The Constitution Day. So
Today is the U.S. Constitution Day, which most of us never got taught.
Right. So I did actually add, because I still have it doing a live watch party of one, but watch party on my phone. And when Leanne shared those words, because they just read parts of the Constitution just before we hopped on this call. And so I just said, currently on theconversation.cc, Leanne Heltzel just reminded us, we hold these truths to be self-evident that all people are born creative and endowed by our Creator. It is our inalienable right to realize creativity in the state of U.S. and the world. So I know, Leanne, you shared those words came through Barbara, yet now we just put that out there again. So Bob, if you want to say more about that, it's very moving and it's still happening.
It's still happening. The purpose of it is to acknowledge today, there were events all day today on the Caravan of Unity across America in Philly. And then they'll be traveling on to New York in the next couple of days. And an acknowledgement, a very moving call last night with Unity Earth folks from Australia and around the world, saying, you know, you all usually pray for other people in the world when we have natural disasters, political disasters. The American Red Cross rushes in, the Christian missionaries run in and help out with things. The U.S. military rushes in and thinks they're helping things. And they said, we are very concerned about the United States of America. And we watch the news all the time. We're very concerned for the tipping point that this country is at in so many ways. Burning on one side, flooding on the other, social injustice all in between. And so it's been very stirring to hear people from around the world saying, we're praying for you now. We're praying for the United States and the experiment to be successful. And the experiment's at a critical point. So I know I'm going to watch the replay, jump on now, and then watch the replay of the beginning of it as well. So didn't want you to miss the opportunity if you want to take that opportunity.
Thank you, Bob.
You bet. Glad you all had a good gathering.
Thank you.
Thank you everyone for coming. Thank you, Leanne, our special guest. Please tune in next week to see Jennifer. Thanks to Co-Creators Convergence. Thanks to the Conversation.cc. Thanks to Karen, who is like in the background doing her magic all the time, helping keep all the ducks in a row. So,
And thank you, Dena.
And thank you, Dena. Yes.
And thank you, Leanne. Thank you.
Thanks,
So
Dena.
beautiful tonight.
So we assume Jamin is here to take control of the room.
Oh, make Kate host if she's staying.
Do I need,
hi, Kate.
do I need
Kate.
to make Kate host? Am I the host still? I am.
You are, Leanne, yes.
So I should make,
Where did Kate go?
Scared.
Mhm.
I guess
Uh-oh, she
make
bolted.
make Jamin. Okay.
Should we make Jamin host?
Oh, wait, hold on one second. I have to stop recording.